Hi there, I'm in Photoshop today and I'm going to show you a cool little tool that's kind of been added in kind of semi-recently, probably a couple of weeks ago. But either way, it's still very, very important to know about because it's going to make adjusting the colors in your image so simple, so simple. Now, you'll need to make sure you kind of have the latest version of Photoshop. This is in Photoshop 2025. If you've got the beta version, then it'll also be in there as well. And what we need to do is have our contextual taskbar. Now, if it doesn't pop up as normal underneath your image, don't worry. Sometimes once you press on the image, then you see it down here. What I'm going to do is just kind of get rid of it for a minute. So if you know where to, otherwise, if it doesn't appear, I'll just show you where to find it. You're going to come up to Windows up here, and then you come all the way down the bottom to contextual taskbar. So that's going to be there. Now we've got our select subject. That's kind of a masking tool. We've got the remove background, which is kind of the same thing, but obviously just on the background. But it's the adjust colors is one of the new things that has been added. So let's actually have a play around with it, because I've got an image here with some nice kind of colors in there, a little bit of a variance. And this is what happens straight away. Once you click on it, Photoshop assesses all the different kind of primary main colors that it sees within the image. Now, sometimes it may not pick up every single hue and every single shade of every single color that's in the picture, but it picks out the ones that are the most dominant. So I'm going to use the flag here and the car pretty much as the most obvious ones. Now you can see here, I've got this kind of, oh, it's like crimson, kind of coral red color, then like the navy blue. And all I want to do on these ones is I can just press on it. Now this is going to isolate the color on its own. Now I know you've got like things like your hue saturation sliders, etc., which it kind of works on that basis. As you can see, we get the little pop-up, but this isolates that individual color to begin with, when previously you've just been able to select red or blue or green or magenta. So sometimes those colors don't fall exactly with those parameters. They may be a little bit kind of bluey green, reddy yellow, etc. So this hones in on the specific color itself. So now I can just play around with the hue on it, and then we've got so many different ways of playing around with the colors. We've got the hue option here. We can then increase the saturation a little bit more. We can change the lightness of it. It depends on whatever style that you're going for. Then we can jump to another color. So we've got like the navy here, and then we can move that around. You can change the car entirely. So and then you can decrease the saturation, increase it a little bit more. Exact same from there. You can just really play around with it to your heart's degree. Now you do have to be very, very careful on some colors and shades that it picks out that you may not want to change at all. Things like this light blue here, I feel this is things going to affect the sky more so. It's a little bit on the car, but I can see little tones changing in the sky slightly, and especially with the lightness, I can end up brightening that and darkening that. So we have to be aware that it's not just localized into one area. It's that tone that's assessed across the whole image. So you may find like that gray tone potentially in other parts of your pictures. So it's not just isolating it in areas that you think. If you want to do that, you're going to have to end up going through masking and just selecting particular areas, and then play around with things like the tone adjustments, etc., and the kind of finite color options that you've got. I've forgotten the name of it, but really it is just a very, very simple tool to use. We've got all those different colors to kind of play around with. You can increase this, say, the saturation, luminance, lots of different things you can play around with from there. You've got the option to kind of reset and go back to the start with them as well. If you think, well, actually, no, I've done it all a little bit wrong there. We can go back to our individual colors, and we can kind of reset them if we wanted to. Just by double clicking on any of the sliders, it will take us back to kind of exactly where we are. Now, if any of the colors that you want to play around with haven't been picked out by this little color chart at the bottom here, we get like 6 different samples. You do have a little sampler, so we could then go, say, to the building in the background. It's kind of like a reddy color there. We can add that in, and then we can kind of play around with that a little bit more. So we can kind of add that there if we wanted to, and you can see now how we get that kind of browny kind of red color at the start of our bar, and then we can play around with that a little bit further. We can brighten it again, do all the exact same things that we had the option of playing around with before. But ultimately, if you do want to hone in on specific colors, tweak them a little bit, whether it's change the color entirely, whether it's changed the saturation or the luminance of it, you've got those options there.